Hello, fam, and welcome back. All of you loyal and cherished supporters, thank you so much for tuning in to the Can We Talk with Jewel podcast, proudly sponsored by fundraisingcup.org Ministries. As always, we're diving into topics that uplift our communities and nurture our spiritual growth. So, guys, we are back on Spotify, who seemingly may be shadow banning our podcast, believe it or not, to prevent monetary gain. But it's okay. We are doing this as a calling first and foremost, and anything extra would be a bonus.
Amen.
Amen. With that
we ain't
said,
here to make money. We're here to make issue. Mm-hmm.
That's right. We want to bring people back to our Father. That's first and foremost. But we do want to let Spotify know we see you.
Anyway, we know what you're doing. Mm-hmm.
We are back with our Navigating Toxic Work Environments and Covert Retaliation series. And today's topic for this particular episode is corporate crimes and murder misdemeanors. Yes, it's a real juicy one, wouldn't you say so, Brother Thomas?
Yep, I do believe. But I don't know if I'd put the murder in there, but you can. But I would just say corporate crimes and misdemeanors. Because misdemeanor sounds like, oh, it's just a little bitty lie. It's not a biggie. No. Any lie in corporate is a biggie because you shouldn't do it. Ethics should step in.
Some of these potential misdemeanors can lead to murder if you're not using your discernment. So, in the meantime, we'll leave it there and we'll see as this podcast progresses, how we'll go about this particular series. But in any case, this is a real juicy one, guys, and we're going to dive right in with some of the most outlandish experiences I know I had in corporate America, as well as our brother Thomas. But first, of course, you always want to welcome our esteemed guest, Brother Thomas Willard, back to the show. Welcome back.
Thanks, Jewel. I'm glad to be back. And definitely we have some things to talk about corporate America. Oh, yeah, we do.
We certainly do, Brother Thomas. I'm hoping that you can open up with some scripture before we hit them with some hardcore experiences.
Yes, ma'am. I'm ready to do so. Okay. Scripture number 1 is having to do with maternity. And that seems kind of strange. And I asked Jules this question when I first saw it. And she said she explains it in her story. And I said, okay, no problem. Anyway, it's Psalms 127:3. Children are heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from Him. This verse acknowledges the value of children and parenthood. Number 2 has to deal with racial discrimination. And that scripture is Galatians 3:28. There is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male or female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. This verse promotes the idea of equality among all people, regardless of race or status. And number 3 has to do with retaliation. And this is Romans 12:19. Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, it is mine to avenge, I will repay, says the Lord. This scripture advises against personal retaliation, suggesting that justice will ultimately be handled by God. Now, these passages collectively reflect a biblical perspective that encourages respect for motherhood and the dignity of all individuals while condemning retaliation. Let it roll, Jewel.
Amen, Brother Thomas. Thank you so much for reading those scriptures. Now, guys, let me take you all back approximately about 15 years from today to my very first experience with maternity discrimination. Now, buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride, guys. I had been with an international bank for around 7 years. And as I was considering starting a family, I kind of felt stuck in my career. No promotion in sight, despite the hard work and effort I was continuously putting in, it was just this blockade. Anyone else here can relate to something like that? I'm sure you guys can. I was young, ambitious, traveling the country to implement this new database system that I researched and brought on to the institution. Yet, I was outright told that promotions were off the table for everyone. Interestingly enough, my Jewish colleague who joined our group after me much later was offered a promotion after looking elsewhere. Then another female colleague with blonde hair and blue eyes received 2 promotions in 1 year. Yes, 2 promotions.
Discrimination.
Brother Thomas, even with less experience and fewer qualifications. But for me to suggest that it was a matter of race, absolutely not. Why? Well, I would be labeled the angry black woman at work. And you know that stigma is so hard to shake off. So I welcomed my first son. And it was an interesting experience until it was time to return from maternity leave. At this point, my company was undergoing an acquisition and a new female leader had taken charge. And she was anything but pleasant. I thought if I laid low, expressed milk for my child, and met my deadlines, I would be safe. Talk about wishful thinking. She immediately summoned me to her office and surprisingly suggested that I help her set up my supervisor by filing a complaint with HR about how he treated women. Now, keep in mind, this supervisor was known to be a little abrasive in how he talks. But nevertheless, he was honest and forthcoming. So I respectfully declined, as one does. But apparently, in corporate America, loyalty should be with whoever holds authority at the time, not with the person who gave you your first opportunity as an assistant vice president. It was clear a target had been placed on my back the moment I refused, Brother Thomas. And looking back, I realized I've been a target for quite some time now. It's almost funny.
You didn't play the game right, Jewel. Didn't you know the rules?
No. I did not know the rules, and I was loyal to the person who gave me a very, very important opportunity in my career.
As rightly you should, because that's loyalty. That it's honoring not only his position, but that he cared about you enough to offer you a changing career path. So no, you should have been loyal to him. You should have had his back. I think if you had the conversation with him, he would have definitely appreciated that fact.
Well, listen to this. This older woman, she was approximately in her late 60s. Let's call her Lauren for just
Jewel, go ahead and call her Karen. Come on. This day and time.
Okay.
Can't she be a Karen?
Call her Karen, right? I think she definitely earned the title of a Karen. We'll call her Karen. Karen decided she would make my job unbearable for not going along with her plans. So the first thing she immediately did was confiscate my BlackBerry. Without justification, she then changed my seating arrangement.
How did she get your BlackBerry? Sorry to interrupt, but how did she get it?
She requested it back. Said that the company was cutting back on certain expenses. They just weren't cutting back on the BlackBerry costs for people that did not look like me, so to speak.
Hold on. So other people kept their BlackBerry and you're the only one that had to get rid of yours? Are you kidding me? You should go to EEOC with that one. That's discrimination.
Oh, Well, I ultimately did, but we don't want to go too fast forward with the story.
Got it.
But this is how some of it
Mm-hmm.
progressed. I think the final blow that hit me really hard was when she designated the copy room, complete with 9-foot windows and no curtains, as the only place for me to express milk. Oh, yes.
That's lovely.
Oh, yes, Brother Thomas. And you guys know I try not to use bad words, but I'll say the female dog mode was fully activated.
Oh, come on now. You can use the B word. Say the B word.
The female dog mode was fully activated, and I had no idea what I was stepping into. A week before my annual evaluation, Brother Thomas, my supervisor, whom I defended, by the way, called me into his office and, in a roundabout way, warned me that Karen was coming for me.
Ooh.
He meant no harm, but I appreciated the heads up. I had only been back for 3 months, Brother Thomas, since I've been
Mm-hmm.
So
and was that affecting your job at all? I mean, was your productivity, anything affected by, having to take time off the floor to express milk?
No. I think what was affecting me was the stress of it all, knowing that I was being discriminated against and not knowing what was going to come next at any moment. It was like this, they kind of keep you in this constant state of uncertainty and those that are not aware, when you just have a child, it's very easy for you to go into a depression.
Oh,
and it's by the grace of God I did
postpartum depression,
Yes. In hearing everything that this Karen did to me, most women probably would have hit depression head on.
Got it.
She was just beyond cruel.
So let me ask you one thing. So you had to express the milk in the copy room. Anybody else pregnant during that time?
No one else was pregnant. And that's the thing. Karen was in her 60s. She's never had children. And so she's not empathetic to any woman that has children. She believes that you should put your career first.
That's what she did.
That's what she did. So she doesn't have any empathy for any woman that's not striving to be at the head first and foremost. And if you do land a companion, well, that's an added bonus. But
you don't bring children into it. Yeah, I got it.
You don't bring children into corporate America was her belief.
And unfortunately, that is a belief that a lot of corporations do have, although they won't say it because they can be sued. But it is the truth.
It's an unspoken condemnation on women that many women are punished, unfortunately, for having children. They're punished when they want to attend their child's special events and so forth. Especially, and it's sad that it's done mostly by female managers. I find a lot of male managers are a lot more compassionate and understanding to motherhood. But
well, you know why? I'll tell you why, because I'm on the other end of that spectrum. We had training sessions. We surely did, where we had to sit in and they had like training videos and everything. Like, okay, now you have female, employees. They may or may not have children. They may or may not have children already. And you've got to respect their, needs. And that means that if they have to take off of work to go for an appointment for a child, whatever, you cannot say anything against it. It's discrimination. Or if they come to you and say, guess what, boss? I'm pregnant. You're thinking, oh, shit, now we're going to have to deal with somebody else dealing with, how to do her job, And then, oh, shit, here it comes while she's off on her maternity leave, and we have somebody else that's doing a fantastic job in her place. And then you have to say, okay, Janie, unfortunately, Jewel here is back. So I don't know what to do with you. And you get ruffle feathers all the way around. And men know not to touch that subject. No.
Well, needless to say, I had only been back for maternity leave for 3 months, and I went into this evaluation thinking, how bad could it be? You know, Brother Thomas, you always tell me to be careful when I ask these questions.
Yep. Mhm.
And I remember I brought in a hidden voice recorder tucked away in my purse.
Ooh, you did corporate
Yeah,
espionage. Jewel.
I anticipated that this woman was going to be obnoxious, and
Well, you had been headed off. You know, your supervisor that you defended did tell you she's coming after you, so he was giving you a heads up notice. Mhm.
He certainly was.
Because otherwise, you would have been blindsided, would you not?
Yes, I would have been completely blindsided, and I think that's what she wanted. And, you know, even though, you know, he kind of crossed me too, in trying to save his own job, I do acknowledge that he at minimum gave me the heads up.
Yeah, because it helped you be aware and be prepared.
Yes. And it
okay, get into the espionage. I want to hear about this. Turn the recording on now.
Yes. Oh boy, Brother Thomas. It turned
Did you go to the bathroom and do it, Jewel, or did you do it at your desk and just hit the record button? How did you handle it?
Well, we were in a private, like, small conference room, and so I just told them, hold on, let me get my notepad and my pen out my bag, and as I was doing that, I pressed record.
All righty, let's see that one out. Okay, go ahead.
And it turned out to be a complete performance by the both of them, might I add. My supervisor for the past 7 years had tried to insinuate that I was incompetent after giving me a solid rating of a 4 out of 5 for the previous 6 years. I'm like, really?
So did you earn that? Did you earn that recognition, or was it just you were the? I don't want to say this. I could get in trouble. Were you the token
black woman?
Yeah.
No. Well, I would hope that I wasn't, because there weren't any other black people.
In management, maybe. In management.
But I'll tell you this, Brother Thomas, I did work my butt off. And I would not.
Well, you had to. Wasn't that the expectation?
It was.
You couldn't slough off. You knew that you would have to be there a 40-hour work week, and more than likely, I bet you made it 43 or 44-hour work week. Did you not?
A 40-hour work week. I worked over 50 hours, Brother Thomas. Are you kidding me?
Did you get paid for 50 hours? Bet not.
No.
Because you're management. That's the other ripoff.
I did not get paid for 50 hours.
That's the other ripoff. They make you work 60 hours and you get paid just the same as you were working 40 hours. What a rip. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Sorry.
No, it's quite okay. And this may be the question that our audience wants to know as well. I mean, I've shown my dedication to the organization. I brought on a very productive corrective tracking database that I've researched, and I've traveled implementing.
You made the business better, right? You made improvements.
The company, and also provided training in different.
And that's the thanks they get. Wow, that's the thanks you get for all of that. I mean, wow.
You know, honestly, Brother Thomas, I would not be bold enough to even request a promotion if I did not feel it was earned. And
well, yeah. I mean, you did all the research. You said you did the training. You did everything.
Yes.
And they gave you nothing for it.
No. They said there were no
promotions. Thank you, ma'am. Don't let the door hit you in the rear on your way out the door. I gotcha.
You know, I remember thinking to myself, well, you know, here I am in my late 20s, but I'm pretty established in terms of my title, my compensation, but there seems to be this glass ceiling that I can't reach above, at least without scratching someone's back, so to speak.
And a little under the table work. I got you.
That, you know, as a Christian woman, that's a no-go. So the only option.
Did they want you to play footsie, Jewel?
I don't know what they may have anticipated, because I was much younger and more naive at that time, so I probably wouldn't even have gotten the cues. But I will say this. when I
The
realized
gestures up and down bit, sizing you
when
up.
I reached that plateau, I felt that it was a sign from God telling me to start a family.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what
Well,
I
God
decided
knows.
to do.
God knows when the time is right. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And needless to say, this woman with her evil smirk and her sarcastic comments handed me a rating of a 2 out of 5.
Ooh. Whoa. And justification was what?
I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, how could
Explain.
I? I no longer had my BlackBerry, so I'm out of the loop in whatever they're messaging each other all the time. I'm constantly
Oh, she sabotaged you.
Yeah, it was a complete sabotage, right?
So that she could give you a bad rating. And your supervisor went along with that rating.
And he did the full performance with her. And
You said he was a Jew, right?
no, he wasn't the Jew. He was actually from Ukraine. I may
Oh, he's
be
a
giving
scared
away
shit.
too much, but
He was a scared
he
shit.
was. He was the sole provider for his family, and
Yeah, but still, I mean, my God. Okay, and this is what we're getting
I'm
at,
not
people.
making
Corporate
excuses for
Yeah,
anyone.
but corporate, see, the corporate thing is just the corporate thing. I mean, you got to be thinking about your own. And it becomes such of a feeling of survival of the fittest, you know?
It's survival of the fittest. I got to save my ass. So if I got to bury yours on the way out, I'm going to do that.
That's so not right.
And it's horrible. It's horrible, but that's just the way it is, you know?
Yeah.
I chose the latter. I chose not to do that to him.
You did the honorable
and
thing. You respected him. Boy, I bet
did.
you were really shocked, were you not, when he did that? And he didn't even.
I mean,
so he just let her say. So she read this evaluation. Sorry to interrupt. She read this evaluation out loud, right?
Yes, she did.
And he didn't say. And he commented how?
He kind of instigated it. Really, to be honest, like she's absolutely right. You don't know what you're doing here. You don't know what you're doing there. And
your comments to him were?
And I was taking notes, and I would ask questions saying, well, Of
course, they didn't know you were doing the recording, so that's a good thing.
No, they did not. And that's one of the reasons why I was very strategic in how I asked the questions, because I knew it was being recorded.
Yep. You had a backup plan.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
And, well, she eventually found out about the recording, and she went mad because she thought
they don't like being recorded.
And crossed her T's, and this little black girl was going to be stomped on like an insect.
Well, then you became labeled the troublemaker. When they found out that you had recorded them illegally.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what they had done to you. You were the bad seed. You were the one that.
No, I wanted to protect myself and have something in the event that they said.
And that's unfortunate, Jewel, that in this day and time we have to do things like that, because it shouldn't be. It should be that you're rewarded for the things that you do, your productivity, your new creation, your new innovative ideas have benefited the company. Why can't you get recognized for that?
No, it's not. I think that people have become really comfortable in stealing other people's work.
Yeah, it's just a mad world, Jewel. It's a mad, mad world. It really is.
Plotting and planning to sabotage others.
Yeah.
There's nothing that disgusts me worse than that. That people would actually sit at a table, sit in a room, and they laugh and giggle about sabotaging someone's career.
Right? So they're thinking to themselves, better her than me. You know what it is? They're thinking to themselves, it's better her than me.
Yes. And I remember
I could be next. And a lot of times that's what happens. Because they do something and they screw somebody over. Well, guess what? That goes on record. Then the company says, let's talk about this one. She was able to do this and do that, but yet, when it all comes down to it, she didn't do things ethically. So There is a rule. Mm-hmm. Got it.
Well, the thing is, when she gave me the 2 out of 5, she knew that would make me ineligible for any pay increase. 1. But even more egregious.
For a whole year and you got nothing.
Nothing. She knew that it was pretty much a setup to be kicked out, because it's really, once you're placed on, I forgot what it's called, to be honest, but
administrative watch.
It's like an administrative watch, but they had another term for it at the time. But when your score goes that low, it's like you're fighting to get.
Oh, you're on the way out, honey. You're on the way out. They're not.
Yeah.
They don't want to deal with you.
And
start refreshing your resume there, honey, because you're fixing to be.
That's what she's saying in so many words. And she walked out and she, chest up, chin out. She was so proud, I remember, of what she did. So you could go back and tell them, I'm the big honcho in charge. I told you I was going to get rid of her. A royal kick up her behind. But I just want to make it clear, Thomas, that I mentioned that the company was going through an acquisition while I was gone,
so
right?
There's somebody watching them. The books.
Just to let you know.
Were they cooking the books, Jill?
If she wasn't malicious and wicked, she could have just given me a severance package at the time and let me go, right? But it was important for her to wield her power and want to show her authority and humiliate me on my way out, right?
Got it.
But what she did not anticipate is that the little black girl from the Bronx had some fight in her. Mm-hmm. And I remember I immediately ran straight to Human Resources and filed my grievances. And did
you play them a recording?
No, I held that. And I'm, that there's a story behind the recording, but hold on 1 second.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. As usual, Human Resources always tend to side with management before.
Oh yeah, they do. They're going to be the corporate way all the way. Mm-hmm.
And I think they even assumed that I was going to file a racial discrimination claim.
They already got their lawyers involved.
Mm-hmm. They did. And racial discrimination cases, what people don't realize, is so difficult to prove.
Yeah, it is.
So difficult. You would
say he said, she said.
You would think being the only black person in the office being treated that poorly would be enough, but no, you literally have to catch someone downright calling you the N-word.
And have a witness. Have a witness.
And have a witness. I mean, it's virtually impossible to prove. I mean, there's every which way to get around that kind of poor behavior.
Because HR probably thinking, you know what, she's got this grievance and it's false. There's no way that they did anything. She's just trying to get some kind of compensation. Let's just shut her down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. But surprise, I hit them with maternity discrimination.
Ooh, yeah.
Things up more than they anticipated. I even hired a high-end attorney to file my EEOC claim, and that was when the corporate games kicked into high gear. Okay, guys? This woman, Karen, and her team escalated the harassment to a degree that is unbelievable for the average mind. She began hacking into my accounts, planting bugs near my desk.
But do you think, Jewel, that she was given the go-ahead by upper corporate people to do that?
No, I don't think they had any idea, because the reason why I say that is after they started investigating and realizing, hey, wait a minute, this black girl is telling the truth about a lot of things, and Karen seems to be getting caught up in a lot of her lies. They responded by putting cameras now in and around our office because they didn't trust what she was saying.
Right.
For corporate to now invest in this kind of security, they're like, we want to see what's going on here. Like, what is she doing? Because she's telling us one thing, and then here comes this girl with evidence that that's a lie.
Yep.
And that's one thing that I'm always well known to have. I like to keep recording.
You bring your receipts. Yeah, you do.
I tell you guys all the time, keep your receipts, because there's liars out here, guys. That's all they do for a living professionally is master deception.
Yeah.
And one thing about me is I love receipts, date, times, what happened, who did what, so that I remember even when I handed it over to the attorney, they were so impressed with my log that they took my case without charge. They're one of these high-end
pro
attorneys.
bono. Wow.
No, they were going to take a percentage of the win.
Okay.
So it wasn't pro bono. They were real high-end. They only take $1 million cases. And
they wouldn't have taken it. They didn't think they could win. Got it.
They absolutely would not have taken it. If they
and
didn't
probably
think it was
because you did your research, your diligent research, and you've held your receipts, they said, "Hey, she's got it in the bag. There's no way they're going to win.
Yes.
You're definitely going to be the winner in this case," and that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
And so I think that what you're trying to say to the people listening is, make sure you got all your ducks in a row because you're going to need them.
Yes. Obviously, this attorney clearly thought I was far from incompetent when he took the case. But he took the case. I was really excited. But even that took a turn. And we'll get to that a little later. But even at Karen's going away party, yes, she got fired. When the company found out.
I wouldn't have given her a go away party. I would have said, "Get out the door. Call security. Out."
For those of you who work in corporate America know how difficult it is for corporate to actually fire a manager. For them to get to that stage, the conduct and behavior has to be so egregious that they downright put a risk on the company being sued. And so I remember she had a going away party.
So they just told her that she was moving on to a different position somewhere else or something?
No, they let her go, and they obviously gave her a date. Like they said, you have to leave in 2 weeks. And she...
But who gave the going away party? Was it really truly a going away party, or was it that's just a phrase?
She threw the party in the office that she was moving on somewhere else.
To save face. I got it. To save face.
Yeah, all of this was about saving face because it was hard to accept that, this little girl really won this battle. Where I thought...
Did she have egg on her face, Jewel?
I think so. I think she thought she would be kicking me out, a swift kick in the derriere. And I was so embarrassed and never want to work in corporate America again and all that terrible stuff. And the tables turned, and I got to watch her leave.
And you say she had a $400K salary too, right?
It was up there. It was pretty high up there.
Damn.
And, it was just...
Be sure your sins will find you out. Be sure your sins will find you out. Well, God gave judgment to her then. Yeah, sure did.
But you know what? At this going away party, and I want to share this with especially some of our young people because I don't think that they know how dark and desperate these people can get to try to win. And I remember she sent one of her minions over to me with a glass it actually was a plastic cup of wine that they poured. And they said it was sangria, and it was the last of the sangria. And in my mind, I'm thinking, why would you bring me a cup of anything? I don't trust any of you anyway.
But weren't you not breastfeeding at the time?
I was still even breastfeeding, but
you shouldn't be having any alcohol.
No, but some women every once in a while.
Yeah, I know.
Some women can decide that they're not going to breastfeed for that night, especially if they have a lot of milk pumped already.
Right.
They can go out with a friend, and have fun at a local whatever.
Yeah.
But either way, it wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. And the idea that they've reached level of desperation to approach me with this supposed last bit of sangria. Who told you I even drink sangria? And why would I trust you to pour me a cup of the last bit of it?
True.
I looked at the girl in her eyes that brought me the drink, and I said, no, thank you. And I happened to be speaking with another black female colleague that was from Chicago at the time.
Uh-huh.
And she said, I'll take it. And I remember my eyes opened wide where I wanted to warn her, but I couldn't think of.
Say, girlfriend, do you know what might be in there?
You can't right out say that because it's more of you implying that you know for a fact, and I can't say that I know for a fact. And
no, but you said you thought it. Your intuition.
I did think it. My intuition told me that it wasn't safe to drink, and I mentioned to her, like, you sure you want to drink that sangria? I remember saying something like that, and she said, yeah, girl, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. And I noticed 5 minutes into the conversation, she started becoming really loose-lipped.
Oh no, they had dosed her?
Yes, she started saying things that she would never. I mean, this is one of the most professional black women I've ever worked.
Oh no.
And even though she didn't work in the New York office, she worked in the Chicago office, but she was very professional. I mean, very educated, but after that drink, her mouth was like a water fountain.
Oh my God.
She's like, I hate that female dog, Karen. She's made my life miserable. She would have never said that. Okay? And I was just like, I said, hey, are you going back to your room after this? Because she traveled from Chicago for that particular week or for this event as well. They're going away, and she was like, I'm so happy she's leaving. I'm like,
okay.
I'm
she's celebratory in a different way. Got it. Okay.
I'm looking over my shoulder like, I hope no one's hearing this conversation. And anyway, I said, are you going to your hotel room after this? Do you need, someone to bring you over there? She's like, girl, I'm fine. Actually, a few of us are going out to the bar for some more drinks after this, so don't worry about me. I'll be okay. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't know, something. My intuition is telling me something is in that drink. She's not going to be okay. But what can I do, And
she's going to say stuff she shouldn't say.
And she's going to say stuff she shouldn't say. But it's, it was the first time I realized how bad corporate America could be. Before then, it never, ever crossed my mind that anyone would put something in someone's drink at work.
No.
Ever. Anyway, I remember I went home to go breastfeed my baby, and it was the weekend. The next Monday I came to work, and I reached out to her. And at this time, I was under full surveillance. They had me surveilled in the office where they can monitor my work, monitor who I'm communicating with. And I remember
Even though Karen was gone, they were still monitoring you.
No, Karen wasn't gone yet. That was her going away party. But she officially had one more week left.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
So I immediately reached out to her and I said, hey, just checking to make sure you made it back home to Chicago safe. How was the bar? And she responded, you know something? I really don't remember much that happened.
Oh, shit.
All I remember is that your supervisor brought me to my hotel room.
What?
When she said that, yes, when she messaged me that, he kind of stormed out of the office. Now, I don't think he would have done anything to her, but I do think they asked him probably to bring her home because of what they did. But I don't think...
Well, he had the opportunity. He could have.
I don't think he would have. I mean, at least what I knew of him, but who knows, because he clearly changed.
I would just say this, Jewel. I think his ethics are called into question here because he let that woman give you that 2 rating, and he knew far good and well that he'd be giving you how many?
It was not deserved. Yes,
right.
You are
and
correct.
So you can't trust him. So who knows what he did? And if she can't remember, oh my God, that's serious.
I remember thinking that. Brother Thomas, I remember thinking like, wow, if that was intended for me, and I have a baby that's waiting for me to get home to be
Whoa,
okay.
yeah.
Who knows what the ultimate plan was? But
Mm.
by the grace of God, my intuition told me, don't touch that cup, go home, get away from these people.
Yep.
And I want to share that with the young people to know that some of us may think that there are boundaries that people wouldn't cross.
That's not
And
true.
and it's so far from the truth. Or you may think you're so far down the totem pole of
Mm-hmm.
corporate America to experience these things, but the desperation for a lot of these people to hold these positions and the
Mm-hmm.
egos that they have behind it lead them
Mm-hmm.
down a very dark road.
That's true.
And you know, I just, I hope if that woman does ever hear my podcast, I want her to know that I wish I could have did more. But I was
Mm.
much younger then, and I think my anxiety levels and just being overwhelmed by some of the most evil things that were happening to me
And you never thought
caused
it was
me
going to
not to
happen
make.
to you. You didn't see it. You
No,
thought you were just going to
I
be
wasn't. I wasn't
maternity
aware.
leave and have your kid and be able to do these things and still do your work and everything keep
Yes,
going like it should. And everything just turned
yes.
topsy-turvy.
But I have to tell you, Brother Thomas, it was at that very moment that I realized how quickly our civil liberties could be trampled on
Oh,
and
yeah.
how malicious people can become to cover up their wrongdoings.
Yeah.
I wish I can say that it ended there, but this woman would continue to be relentless in her retaliation efforts. And
Yeah.
even my case, my actual case that was given to that attorney that we mentioned before,
Yeah.
faced further complications. And somehow the EEOC informed me that my claim was closed. Yes, it was
Mm-hmm.
compromised without that attorney ever discussing it with me. He closed the EEOC case.
The
And,
attorney that you paid the high price for.
well, remember, I didn't pay him a high price. The agreement was that he would get paid in the back end. So if someone could pay him more up front, for example, that's how
So he was
cases can be
compromised.
compromised. In so many words, I'm going to leave it for our listeners to decide what happened there. But I will just say he dropped the ball with my case completely,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what was going on. Why
Money
did
talks and people walk. I'm sorry to
and
say
people
it, but
walk?
it's true.
Yeah, and you don't tell somebody 1 minute their case is rock solid, and then the next you just drop it
Mm-hmm.
and you close claims. I would have never closed that EEOC claim by the
You
time
had every
I would
right
have.
to, and you had all the information.
Yes, yes. It's one thing if you don't want to be my attorney anymore and move on. Let me get another attorney, and he can pick up with the EEOC where he
Yeah.
needed to pick up. But that
Yeah.
case was so solid that I probably would have been a millionaire if he didn't do what he did. To
Right.
be honest,
Right.
because I never agreed to him closing that EEOC case
Well.
at all. And needless to
You know
say,
what we
I got
found
a
out
new
about
attorney.
lawyers, Jewel? We found out that lawyers are only going to be loyal to those that have the money.
That's true. And this is why I'm sharing my stories, because I want people, especially young people, to understand the web that they can get entangled into
Yeah.
based off of my experience and to make
Yeah.
better, wiser decisions.
Yeah.
But anyway, I decided to get a new attorney, and he turned out to be an angel in disguise. And he, even though the case was so chopped up and it was a wreck, he again also told me my notes were impeccable, and he helped me file the federal case.
Great.
And in the end, the company decided to settle out of court. but it wasn't for much. It was really for what my severance package would have been. So
That's
I've gone
not
through
good.
all of this. I've gone through all of this, and
But didn't also, I'm sorry to say, but is this not where you told me that your attorney got 40%?
yes. So this
And
is
that's wrong
another
too.
thing that gets paid on the back end. And unfortunately, for those of us that do not have a lot of money on the front end to pay these attorneys, when you agree to pay them on the back end
Yeah.
a certain percentage, that's when you really feel the hit, because when you win whatever your case is and you have to give them that huge chunk, it
40%
hurts.
for nothing. I mean, you did all the work.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna go there,
For
but that's still
me,
not right. But see, that's just the way it
but you
is.
know
It's
what,
just like,
Brother Thomas, for me, I have always been a person of good ethics and principle.
yeah,
And it was more filing that federal case that will be forever on docket was about principle for me.
I know.
It was about making sure that it was on record what you did to me,
Yeah,
that it's not going to go undisclosed. It's going to be something that can't ever go away.
right.
So that if there's ever another black girl that you run into that you feel you can do this kind of stuff to, it is on record what you did.
Yeah,
And that meant
got it.
more to me at the
Yeah,
time, Brother Thomas. I mean,
yeah.
I know a lot of people do things for money and they want, to become the next millionaire. And it would have been nice to be properly compensated for the injustice that was done to me. But I always think about those that come behind me ever since I was young, like a
And
freedom fighter. So,
that's right. I mean, you're thinking of, but somebody.
and so I just, in the end, I want to tell you guys, if you find yourself facing discrimination, a
Yeah,
constructive charge, seek professional help from a trusted and reputable source.
yeah.
In our
Don't trust
last
HR. Don't trust HR.
no, not at all. They're always going to side with management first and foremost, irregardless
Although they'll
of
tell you
whatever the
that,
stuff is.
they're your friend. They say, now, if you ever have any grievance at all, make sure that you come knock on our door. We're always there. We will definitely have your back. No, they won't. Mm-mm.
And in our prior podcast on navigating toxic work environments, we had on Miss Jackie Abrams. I want to recommend working with her again if any of you are dealing with any kind of discrimination and
Mm-hmm. Oh,
constructive
she's a
discharge
steamroller, isn't she?
or retaliation. I mean, this woman is sharp like scissors. I wish I had her on my team when I went through this as a young girl.
For
I would
real.
have been better. I mean, I just imagine both of us putting the case together. We'd probably
Mm-hmm.
be on some
Well,
island
she
somewhere else right
said, I
now.
do believe she said that she had settled people that were, hourly up to those that were making, thousands of dollars, hundreds of
Yes,
thousands of dollars. She's had
yes.
the cases settled because of it, so she's a barracuda. We'll say that. Mm-hmm.
She sure is. And I recommend working with her, guys. If you need her expertise, definitely reach out, grab her book.
Hey, Jewel, leave her
And
in the
see
comments
what it
or
is.
leave her in the, whatever, so that they can,
Yeah, sure
reference
thing.
her.
Sure thing. And so, with that said, and I kind of brushed through a lot of what I experienced, aside from, I didn't mention the fact she had people going through my trash and just, mentioning that she knew the route I took to work. There was just a lot of weird, cringeworthy things that this particular Karen was involved in and said to me that I documented. But I do want to give you guys an idea of what you could be up against. And I still remember this one line she said to me, which is, I noticed a common line that I've heard from several people that were, involved in, I'll say, extracurricular activities. And the line was, you don't know who you're messing with. You
talking about agreements that are made in the bedroom or the boardroom.
One place I'm definitely not in. And if I had $1 for every time someone either in an occult or affiliated with someone politically has said that term to me, I would be a rich lady. Because it's a common threat of those that are, especially in a cult and so forth, that feel they can wield power against you and violate your rights. Often throw around to remind you that they believe they have more power in dark places than you have.
Well, Jill, I'll say this. This goes with the saying: good men, and I'm not meaning that just men. Good men finish last.
Yeah, unfortunately, despite what we would like to believe, based off of what I shared with you, my hard work ethic was not recognized. And the one that did get a promotion, he got it going somewhere else, pretending that he was going to leave the company, and they gave it to him out of fear to keep him on board, which is totally opposite of everything that we are trained. We're trained to work hard, and then we get the promotion.
And you get rewarded.
That's not what happened here, right? And then
you play the
game. You hear the constant theme of this bullying and just making people feel threatened at work if they don't go along with the terroristic practices, so to speak. And I think the sad thing is that these sort of people, these sort of narcissistic people that are placed in leadership positions, they're groomed that way.
Yeah, they are.
So they're groomed from other narcissists that shows them this is how you treat the peasants beneath you.
That's true. You're either a company guy or not a company guy.
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
Fairness and hard work and fairness, just be damned. They don't matter.
Yeah, unfortunately. And there's a lot of people's voices that have somehow got buried in transition of all of this happening.
Yep.
And that's why I want to be that voice and share some of these personal stories with you all, so that you can understand what you may be walking into and to choose your fights wisely.
But you know what, Jill? I will say this about you and that experience. You didn't let it become you being jaded. You know what I'm saying? It didn't change your ethics at all. That even though they did what they did, and in the end the company won, you still were the better person because you came out on top. You kept to what your beliefs were, and it's just, that's a good thing. If you at the end of the day can say, you know what, I didn't compromise my beliefs, I didn't compromise my standards, way I was raised, all of these things, none of this I compromise, and we'll never compromise. That makes you a better person. It really does, in God's eyes.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Thomas. I said in a prior podcast that I consider myself a healer, a master healer, and healing starts with yourself, right?
Yep.
And so as I've gone through my journeys, I had to heal these injustices with myself in order to become a better leader and a better teacher. And I know Brother Thomas shared with you that I was a leader on his team before I led him. And I did not let these experiences affect my leadership with him or how I viewed a white person because of my bad experience.
We were a team.
We were a rock star team. And
yes, we were.
I'm so grateful that Brother Thomas is a testament that you don't have to become like them. You can be better. Right?
Yeah.
And Thomas.
Well, that's why we have the relationship we have now, Jewel, is because our ethics stood out. And, our beliefs stood out. And even though, after we both parted from the SBA, we still have this, this camaraderie. And that's important. So people, when you're making that travel up the ladder, beware of what you're doing. If you step on people's toes and all this kind of stuff up the corporate ladder, just know you got to come down that ladder. At some time or another, you got to come down that ladder, and either you are able to be one that says, I got this fair and square, and nobody can say anything about that I didn't do things fair and square. But if ever you have done anything to compromise your ethics or anything like this, they will use it against you. And they did.
They did. I mean, when I told you guys that my phone was hacked and they were going through my personal items, what they were looking for was something to blackmail me with. So eventually, I know that, especially when you go to college and stuff, they tell you you only live once and to do all of this crazy stuff or to join these fraternities and sororities. But
the party life. Yes, Jewel, you need to bring that out. That's important because, kids these days, they don't think anything about what they do or what is said, and it's just party time. But you don't realize when you post things over the Internet, it's permanent.
Yeah, and these people, they will go looking for it. I mean,
they
by
will.
the grace of God, I didn't live a crazy, outlandish life, so it was very challenging for her to try to find anything on me. And she really ran through my emails trying to find something, anything. But again, I don't really delve that far out for the most part, and so I think that's what made it so complicated and frustrating for her, because many people she probably finished by invading their personal lives. And I just want to warn young people to keep that in mind as you're going through corporate America. The things that you involve yourself in can be used against you. So make wise decisions and don't follow the crowd and join these different groups where they would have something over your back that would be easy to hold over your head to get what they want. Okay, that's the best advice I can give you guys. And
no, it's sound advice. And people don't think about it these days, Jewel. They really don't. They're thinking that it's just party, and it's just having a good old time, and they're not knowing. See, the phone is something else these days. I mean, it can record, and it can take pictures. And, it used to be, people didn't take cameras to work, what I'm saying? But you take a phone to work, there's your camera. And I'm just saying, if you put yourself in a compromising position, Lord help you. I mean, it's better to say, just like you said, something felt different about the fact of, no, I don't want to take advantage of that, sangria, and I'm kind of skeptical of what's going on, the after party type of thing. No, so you took your butt home, and that's exactly what you had to, and they could not use any of that against you. But see, people don't realize, that's exactly what they're looking. People are looking. You don't know who is right there working, a coworker right there beside you, who's just waiting to stab you in the back.
Exactly. And
it's amazing.
They could already be working up a false narrative on you and saying, oh, this person is promiscuous, they're this, they're that. Meanwhile, human resources don't know that they slipped you a Mickey. So now they have you on videotape looking promiscuous, and everything that they tried to build a case on you, which was a complete lie, right?
And too, Jewel, that coworker or person that said that they were your friend, they could have been approached by upper management saying, hey, can you do something for us? Because, if you do this, we can promise you, it'll be lucrative for you.
Yeah, I do believe the girl who brought me the drink, was solicited by Karen with you guys.
Well, again, we our eyes, like you say, need to be open. You need to be aware of your surroundings. You need to know. I hate to say it, don't trust anybody, really.
No.
With secrets, with personal business, don't. That's why you don't mix personal life with business life. You don't. You don't.
And it's unfortunate that, people do not have a moral and ethical code that they operate by and say, I would never go that low to try to prove my point or to try to win a case that I know I'm wrong about to begin with. Right? This young woman, as a woman to woman, I see this young woman just had a child, and this is me as the leader talking to you guys, right? Now we're going to fast forward. I'm 15 years older. This is how I would have handled the situation with a younger person that I see just came back from maternity leave. Even if I think that the workload may be overwhelming for them just coming back into the office, I would still have a grace period, right? Because I understand that this woman could be kicked high gear into a depression just because she can't keep up 2-3 months after coming off of maternity leave.
Yeah.
So I'm going to lighten her load a little bit. I'm going to, do whatever it is as a team player, as a good leader, to get the job done, but effectively make everyone still feel as though they're a part of a team, at least for a certain period. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even if I have to meet with that young woman and say, hey, listen, I know you just had a baby and you're just kind of getting back into the swing of things. So, this is what I'm going to require of you from this period to this period, and then we're going to pick it up, periodically until you can, kind of manage everything that's going on all at once.
Correct.
But
Jewel, it doesn't even have to be, and I'll say this, it doesn't even have to be maternity leave. It could be somebody that went out on sick leave.
On sick leave, someone who had a car accident. It's just a matter of emotional intelligence that a lot of people lack in corporate settings. And their egos get the best of them, and they take pleasure in seeing people hurt and embarrassed. And I have never been one to understand that, right? Seeing someone else hurt or embarrassed does not make me a better leader or a good person in any faculty.
Right. Well, you know what, Jill, I said, and the reason why I brought up about, sick leave or whatever is because, and maybe this is my time to add a little bit to it, although we've been talking quite an hour or whatever, but I'll be quick about it. So, for those of you who don't know, I suffer from the Pfizer vaccine injuries, and I do. And so it got really bad, when I came out of the hospital. I was put on short-term and long-term disability, and I was gone away from the corporate setting for 7 months. Now, when you're gone for 7 months, you're like a fish out of water when you come back. And so, and this is the thing, this happened to me so quickly. I was supposed to do a presentation of the workbook. You'll know what I'm talking about, but of the workbook. And I was so gung-ho because people had heard about our team, Jewel, and what all we had done by using the workbook, and they could not wait to, find out exactly how we used it. And I was so excited. The very next day, I went into the hospital. Well, turns out that a good guy that we thought was a good guy, Babak, that he basically, stepped up to the plate and said, oh, I will present it. And so I thought, I've heard that he did that. And I was going, well, that's good. I didn't realize he was so much involved in it, but he wasn't in our team. But, I'm glad that he was there and he could pick up the ball and run with it. And so he thought he had. And what I found out later was he screwed it all the way up. No one understood anything. They hated it. In fact, when I got back, they tossed the workbook idea to the side. No one was even dealing with it. And I was going, wow. Anyway, so then turns out that this person, I think, Jewel, he had some kind of, I guess, jealousy with me because of the recognition that we got in being Team 7. And, everybody was just saying so many good things about us, and other team players were calling me or Lynn and finding out, well, how did they make this a fun job? And we did. And so, I think he saw, it's me coming back after 7 months, that he could do something. And so he was named my mentor, and I'm going, okay, this is really good. Anyhow, I went with it. And so, it was a new program, and so I listened to him and I followed his directions. Well, it turns out the directions that he gave me were not correct. They were somewhat, gray shaded, and I didn't realize it. I mean, I asked him, alarm bells went off, and I'm going, so you're telling me that you can do this, you can put them under pressure, and they will get you your documents faster. And I thought, that didn't sound right. But he said, yeah, he says it does work. Now, what happened to me was, I got a call from my supervisor, and she says, what have you done? I said, what are you talking about? Well, you've written off these emails, and you basically have threatened the lenders. And I'm going, well, let me say, these particular lenders were waiting till the very last day to get these things to me, and I knew that they could have gotten to me faster. And I was waiting on the poor borrower. I was trying to get them the information, and the stall tactic was ridiculous. Of course, it's a corporate setting, so that's what they do. And so management basically had called in her and said, you got to do something about this guy. So she said, from now on, Thomas, she said, every email that you are going to send, you got to send me a copy of it. I said, okay. So she said, that's just not like you. I can't believe you did this. I said, uh-huh. Well, I followed some bad advice, and I won't do that again. But it turns out, Jewel, that, he was in a position, I guess, where he was over me, but he lost it. He got booted down. So that's what I'm just saying, beware of what you do, because when you go so far up, you do have to come back down. So, he learned. And I didn't even mention his name, and I wouldn't do so. See, that's the thing about me. I was not going to mention his name. I wasn't going to say, but they already knew. By his actions. They knew it had to have been him that gave me that in that direction, because they knew it was out of character for me. So there's the other thing. So as long as you got a character built, and it's something that's substantial, and you have a reputation, go with it. Live by your record. Live by that reputation. Don't step out of your comfort zone and thinking people are just going to, accept it. And so I said, I am sorry, and I learned. But I'll tell you, that did set me up for later for that same supervisor to say, that basically I couldn't keep up because of the, situation I had with the injuries, and I was having blurred vision, and my productivity dropped off, and they put me on administrative watch. And after 1 week of doing that, they came back again. It looked like the same pattern, and they terminated me. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I was under a doctor's care. So people, don't think it can't happen to you. It can. It can. And you don't know what, that supervisor, she had been told by the management, I'd already had, I guess, a black mark against me, and they were just looking for something else for me to screw up on. Yep. It's sad, but that's what happened.
Yeah. I'm sorry you had to experience that, Brother Thomas. Let you know, corporate America can be a very ugly place.
Very.
And unforgiving.
Very. But I didn't get no severance package neither, Jill.
Yeah.
Now, I wasn't making the salary you were making, but hell, I had a good standing. I'd been there 2 years. Spotless record. And I got no severance pay at all. In fact, they contacted me in the middle of the week on my lunch hour. And I was thinking, okay, I'm kind of working things out. No. I said, what do you mean no? You're not going to be working here anymore. I said, what? And they said, yeah. And I said, so you're not even going to let me finish out the week? No. You're gone.
Yeah.
And I had nothing to say, nothing to back up. Nothing. Because corporate had decided they were getting rid of me. And they did. And even though it was, basically a contract work, well, they contacted the contractor and they said, look, he's got to go. And they didn't even, what's amazing is, Jewel, even the contractor didn't find me another job. They just terminated me. So even though people, you may think it's one individual that's out to get you, there's more than that. Because again, the contract was set up with the SBA that certain things would go on, certain behaviors would go on, and certain productivity levels would be expected. And if you fall by the wayside on any one of those things, they have the right to terminate you. And I did not know that.
Yeah.
Did not know that. So beware of corporate America. It's not always a good thing. It's really not.
Yeah. True indeed. Brother Thomas, thank you so much for sharing your experience. I'm sure many will learn valuable lessons from what we both shared and understand that, first and foremost, make sure that you're okay, because these people, they don't prioritize you.
Mm-mm.
Your mental health, your family life, all of that stuff. Make sure that it's okay. And don't tolerate anything that is degrading.
Mm-hmm. Don't do anything unethical. Don't do it. Don't.
Okay. And heal. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you you're not going to come across these monsters that have issues they haven't healed from,
mm-hmm.
because that would be a lie. They're
mm-hmm.
out there in vast numbers and vast groups. But most importantly, we want you to heal as you encounter them, so that you can become better leaders, master healers, and teachers for the next generation.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So thank you so much, Brother Thomas, for joining us again on a very impactful episode, and we hope that you all can take bits, pieces, and nuggets from this information session of navigating toxic work environments and apply it to your career as fit. Until we meet again, bye.
Bye-bye.
Every up and down, I promise to stay with you in my heart. I'll never stray. Forever love you through the darkest